Hey everyone, Sarah at Nova Motorcycles. Flying solo this week, so bear with the iffy camera work. Last week we did a video about my Velocette race bike that I'm cobbling together, and this week we're going to get into the nitty gritty with it, cutting up this cylinder. So if you remember from last week, or if you don't, what I have is a bottom end of a Velocette Mac motor right here. And there's our cylinder head looking beautiful, ready to go back on. But what I determined was that with the stock cylinder, which is this one here, uh, the most I can do with all my cutting and doing all whatever to do it, make it all nice and tight, is a 7-to-1 compression ratio, which is pretty agricultural and would be fine on getting around town kind of bike. But for a race bike where we're trying to do top speed and top power, it's not really gonna cut it. So after some gnashing of teeth and pulling out of hair, I realized that I have this beautiful BSA B44 cylinder sitting on my shelf, ready to go, bored for another piston. And I said, hey, I wonder if that'll fit. And after doing a little bit of guesswork and a little bit of mock fitting up, I said, hey, close enough. So what we're going to do is basically cut this one so it looks like this one. Now you see the difference, main difference we're looking at here is the Velocette has an external pushrod tube, so the cylinder just has a cutaway for it, because on the cylinder itself, there's just a little tube that the push rods run in. So I'm just going to make room for something like this on the new motor. So basically, it's going to be ugly, and I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to do it by just tracing how much room I need here and doing best I can with some hand power tools. And boy, is it going to be ugly, but hopefully get some cool footage of it. Everything goes well. I don't slip. I don't break a fin. I don't drop the thing. I don't kick it across the room. With a little bit of polishing up and some filing and stuff, it'll look like maybe it came from a factory. Who knows? Now, just as a quick aside, this is the real reason why we're doing this. This is the stock Velocette piston. As you can see, it's basically a flat top piston, and it's very big. It's bulky. It's heavy. It's old school. This was basically a 1930s design that they were pushing into the 50s. Whereas the BSA piston, this is actually even newer than a 60s one. This is a 67 cylinder we're putting on here, but this is a modern reproduction. So it's more of a slipper piston. In the vintage world, this counts as a slipper piston. Less mass, less friction against the walls, and primarily, first and foremost, is you can see it's got a higher dome, which means we can push up farther into the cylinder, reduce our combustion chamber and combustion chamber volume, and make higher compression, therefore more power. And another side goodie is this BSA cylinder is very light. It's aluminum alloy with an iron liner, whereas this old Velocette thing weighs about 3 times as much. It's cast iron with an iron liner, and boy, that's the workout, just lifting it up. So bear with us, bear with the camera work, and hopefully we get some cool footage of cutting this thing up. All right, let's see how this goes. As we can see, I made some tracing of what the old cylinder was, what the old cylinder head was, and also just the general architecture of this one where I'm going to try to cut. So I have a rough idea of where I'm going, and we're going to start with some really rough cuts just because we're actually going to end up having to cut some off of the bottom of the fins, bottom of the cylinder more than the top. So I'm going to get a general carve out and then kind of start to sculpt it after that. All right, buckle up. I will say something feels very wrong about cutting into such a nice cylinder. And if this doesn't work, I just made a nice piece of junk. So we're going to try a different angle. Vibrations are moving everything around on the table. I did say this would be ugly. Okay, well, that is the basic idea. Now we are going to final fit it. We're going to do some sculpting of it, and you can see where my rough edges are here. And also the way that this fits on the actual bottom end of the motor, I'm going to have to trim a few of these fins too. So I'm going to go throw it on the thing, throw it on the motor, and see how many of those I got to cut off to make that fit. But this is the general shape. We shaped it to the cylinder head itself, so when it goes on, it'll blend right into the cylinder head. And other than some design details like those screw holes, look like it's always been there. So we'll do a little blending, creative finishing on it to make it look like it's supposed to be there as much as possible. Okay, so now I am covered in aluminum dust, and a lot of that dust came from here. I got this cylinder. You see it's got 2 levels, as I was mentioning. We have a cutout for the actual engine case, which is this setup here, and then the other cutout, like here, for the pushrod tube. So, final product, well, I'm not going to say final, the preliminary final product. This is enough to work with. We can test fit it on the cylinder and kind of get our basic, where do we go from here, mathematics done. The hard part, this looks like it has 4 holes. They both have 4 holes, but they're not in the same place. Now, the design of the engine, the Velocette engine, is such that it's not critical that they are in the same place all the way through, but they do have to be in the same place on the top and bottom. So, next step is going to be lining these holes, oops, there we are, these holes up with these holes and cutting these areas to fit the pieces that go in here. So, stay tuned for the fun. Please like these videos if you see them, if you like them. That helps us a lot. And subscribe if you really like them. All right, till next time.